Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, I used to think that I had to. I used to think that I should. The scripture told me that I had to be good. Now I love because I want to. I love because I am free. Blinded by the Spirit. Oh Lord, the Spirit of God is upon me. Yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is.
Spirit of God
It's upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me.
I don't need any prodding. I don't need any law. I want to sing with all my heart. 'Cause God is my all in all. Go with my burden.
It's made me free.
So was made free.
Blinded by the Spirit.
Blinded by the Spirit.
Yeah,
The Spirit of God is upon me.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
Every day.
Spirit of God is upon me.
Every day. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, Russell. Oh,
Russell
the
Crichton.
Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, I thought it was my duty. Yeah, I thought it was my job. Somewhere I believed loving God would be hard. But loving God is wonderful. Loving God is ecstasy. I thank God for my freedom. The Spirit of God is upon me. Yes, it is. Yeah, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. So it is.
So it is.
Amen, amen. The Spirit of God is indeed upon us. A classic Byers Beckwith song. Good morning. Good morning, Inner Light. I'd like to acknowledge Beth Freewoman there on solo, Etienne France on bass and background vocals, Russell Crichton on piano, and Kevin Donato on drums. How long have you been with us, Russell? 5, 6, 7 years. So Russell's been our main pianist for 5, 6, 7 years, and he is about to leave the Santa Cruz area. Yes. So 2 weeks from now, when we're open again for the sanctuary, August the 1st is going to be his last time with us for a while. I'm having big feelings. So please come back and help us to honor him. Jamie Lula will also be with us that day as our musical inspiration. So we're going to have a big musical blowout on that day. But let's hear it for the band. So welcome. Wherever it is that you are, there are so many people who are streaming with us live right now around the country and in other countries as well, and people who are tuning in whenever it is your convenience. So regardless of time, regardless of space, we know in the divine there's only the present now. So you are with us here in this sanctuary, and wherever you are is your sanctuary. Because the sanctuary is not a building. The sanctuary is you, because you are a holy being, and wherever you are is holy ground. Remember that and treat it like that, for certain. At Inner Light, we have a vision. We have a vision of a world. We have a vision of a world where we as spiritual beings evolve to that which is our divine destiny, where we're not just stuck in the things of this world. As Jesus said, we're in this world, but we're not of it. We're not from here. There's something that's greater, and we come here to unleash that greatness so that our presence on the planet can actually be beneficial, so that we actually are good stewards of the planet, that we are good stewards of each other, that we are bringing forth the beloved community, and we do the deep inner work to make that happen, as well as what we need to do institutionally and systemically. In the inner, so in the outer, in the upper, so in the inner, the micro, the macro, they're all the same thing. There are not different sets of principles and laws for the small or for the so-called large. So when you're tuning into us and you're listening, apply everything to your personal life. Like I said, your house to the White House. Apply everything at every level, because our biggest challenge in our spiritual path is just consistency. It's just staying woke. We remember and then we forget, and we remember and then we forget, and we do this teeter-totter. So we come here to help reinforce. We come here to remember, to put it all back together again. As it says in our purpose statement, that we provide tools for living that encourage the practical application of universal spiritual principles to all of life's circumstances. And one of the tools that we offer are these affirmative activations. Okay? They're not just words. They're not just words. And I want to make sure that everybody in here, did you get the little handout, the good news? Okay, good. Because on the front of that, or at least the back of that, you're going to find the affirmative activations. If you're online, they are going to appear on your screen. What I'm going to invite you to do is to say the affirmations with me. So pull those out right now. And for July 18th, 2021, our theme is wholeness, and our topic today is discovering the truth of who we are. So I invite you to repeat with me. I have the patience to be kind to myself and others as we discover the truth of who we are. I have the compassion to see the divine in everyone, regardless of status or deed. I appreciate countless blessings, big and small. I have the humility to ask for and accept divine guidance and direction. I have absolute trust in the process of divine unfoldment. I have the courage to keep walking in the direction of my surrender. I have love in my heart and peace in my soul. My mind rests assured, I know who I am in spirit. Let that soak in for a little while. I say welcome to everybody who's in the sanctuary, particularly if this is your very first time. If you don't mind, we'd like to give you a little blessing. Anybody here for the first time, if you don't mind standing, we'd like to outstretch our hands from our hearts to you and just give you a little blessing. And this includes those of you who are online. We outstend our hands from our hearts to you and say, we see you. We honor you. We acknowledge you. We bless you. You are a powerful spiritual being with treasures still to unleash within you. Thank you for joining us this day. And welcome to Inner Light. Welcome to Inner Light. Welcome, welcome. We have some refreshments afterwards. You can fellowship with us in our social hall next door. And for those of you who are online in real time, there's a Zoom party that's going on. So as soon as we close out here, you can get to the links that are on the screen there, and there will be people from all over the place who are ready to engage you and talk to you. You can get in breakout groups and have your own time to do some socializing and discuss what's connecting with you in the message here today. And we say thank you for joining us. So I'm going to invite the band to come back up, set the stage for the message. And joining them is a dancer. And you know, with COVID, we haven't had a chance to see each other much. And it's just good to start seeing people again in the sanctuary. And the dancer is none other than our very own Celeste Chesko, who is actually a member of our founding practitioner class, our inaugural class 15 years ago, 2006. And I think we have some other people in the house who are also in that particular class. And I want to give a shout out to Les, too, to say she was on our staff for a long time and was our caregiver. And you could just feel the love in every ounce of this place with the consciousness that you brought. So please.
Thanks, Rev. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. for you. Sanctuary, 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 sanctuary for you. Oh yeah, we are here in the sanctuary, in our sanctuary, in the sanctuary. It is holy now. We are here to be freed from the past, to forgive our past, to untie the knots that keep us from being free, from being free. We are opening our hearts, opening in this present moment. We are free, we are love, we are free to flow in the river of life, in the river of life and love. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Sanctuary, 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 sanctuary for you, for God, for you, for you, for you. Oh yes. Open my eyes and illuminate me. Open my eyes and illuminate. I just wanna thank you for giving me this life. Let's do it. Yes. Creating me a clean heart, Lord. Creating me a clean heart, Lord. Creating me a clean heart, Lord. Yeah, yeah. Creating me a clean heart, Lord. Create in me a clean heart, Lord. That's where we're going now. Okay. Creating me a clean heart, Lord. Creating me a clean heart. Creating me a clean heart, Lord. Creating me a clean heart. Oh, let's go to the end. Sanctuary, sanctuary, sanctuary. For you. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Celeste.
Thank you, Celeste. Thank you, band.
Yes. Let's just breathe that in. Our theme this month is wholeness. And my topic today is discovering the truth of who we are. You hear me say all the time that the spiritual qualities are what we are. It's not something external, something out there that we have to chase after. It's an existential dilemma of the human psyche to perceive itself as separate. It's separate. It's always trying to individuate. Our ego self knows who it is by contrast and comparison. I know I'm me because I'm not you. That's what your mind thinks. Everything is relative. There's nothing absolute. It's like tall. What is tall? It's not like a tall. Tall relative to what? If you're a male and you're 4 feet and you're 40 years old, nobody would call you tall. If you're a male and you're 2 years old and you're 4 feet, he would say you're tall. Okay? Young, old, in comparison to what? So our ego is always trying to locate itself in contrast and comparison to everything else. But your soul's essence doesn't need to be compared to anything. It doesn't need to be contrasted to anything. The truth of who and what it is not based upon what somebody else is or is not. So where your ego perceives a whole with an H, your soul perceives whole with a W. Your soul feels whole, but we got this little dilemma here. And that's our great spirituality is trying to express itself through our personality. So you've got this big infinite something that's trying to express itself through a very finite body temple. And in a single incarnation, you can never express everything. As long as you are alive, it's not done. As long as you're still breathing, it's not finished. Okay? So our human psyche, particularly from a Western standpoint, it wants to experience success as having arrived someplace. It wants to finish stuff. It wants to check it off, done that. I forgave. Boom. Turn the page. Oh, I got it. Boom, I understand. Boom, I mastered it. Boom. To our Western mind, to master it is that point when I think I understand it so much, I get exempt. I don't have to do it anymore because I've mastered it. No. That's not how the spiritual journey is. That's not even how most Eastern or indigenous traditions are. Mastery is the repetition. Mastery is the pure embodiment, where the master, the one who really gets it, is so it that you wouldn't even think of trying not to be it. You're not looking for the escape clause. You're not looking for, well, where is this finished? So whether we're talking about the Christ consciousness, whether you're talking about being and living in the great I am, different cultures, different traditions call it different things. I was raised very Christian, but that only started 2,000 years ago. There was a lot of people before that. A lot of people. And wherever they were, whatever is your culture, there is this notion that there is some place that is transcendent of just the stuff that is around you. We're spiritual beings in human bodies. Our human bodies and the circumstances around us are the context for our life. It's the arena that we're playing in. It's the context. Like if you're an athlete, maybe the context is a hockey game. Maybe it's a basketball game. Maybe it's track and field. Maybe it's swimming. You know, we're just starting the Summer Olympics now. A year late, but hey, better than never. So, you know, that's the context. But the content is about who they become as an athlete. You see, there's the discipline, there's the drive, there's the connectedness, there's the expression. And it doesn't stop or start depending upon what sport. If you're a real athlete, you're going to bring your A game to everything. See, if you're a real person who has a loving heart, you're not going to pick and choose how loving you're going to be based on the context. So if I'm with my family, I'm going to be loving, but if I'm at my job, I don't have to be. I love you if I like you, but I don't love you if I don't like you. Trying to make the context of all of that the content for my life. No, 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 no. The isness of who you are, be it everywhere. Just breathe that in for a moment. Be it everywhere. There is no large or small. There's no greater and there's no lesser. In Scripture, Jesus says that even what you do unto the least of these, you're doing it unto me. You're doing unto me. You know, I'm a spoken word artist, and there was this rap song I wrote years ago when I still lived in Los Angeles. And the opening line is, well, I love humanity. It's people I don't like. and we're kind of like that. Like, oh, I love humanity, but people work my nerves. You know, I love, but when it comes to the practical, where the rubber hits the road, put it into practice, oh, well, now it's another thing. The truth of who we are. So I live most of my life very, very goal-driven. I mean, very goal-driven. I was halfway out of USC. I was halfway out of college when I turned 18. Boom, woman with a mission. And I was always trying to do. I was always trying to make things something. And it took me the longest time to realize that life is a journey. It's not a destination. Life is a journey. It's not a destination. There's no there. There's no there. If you go from point A to point B, that's just your new point A. So you get from here to there, then there's just from there to the next place, to the next place, to the next place. It's constantly in motion. Listen to what I'm saying. It's constantly in motion. Most of us really don't love life. We're afraid of life. We fear life. We're always trying to hedge against life. Listen to what I'm saying. We're trying to make sure we're not on the butt end, or that we're not left out, or that it's not going ahead of us, or whatever that is. And I remember just this epiphany at some point, being frustrated with the journey and hearing that inner spirit voice saying, if you don't like the journey, you don't like life. If you don't like the journey, you don't like life. Because that's all that it is. I want you to catch that. That's all that it is, and who we become along the way. I cannot stress that enough. We are in a constant state of becoming. And if we would pay less attention to trying to get somewhere and more attention to who do we want to be. and allowing the circumstances and the conditions to help me be more that. So that even when the tragedies come, even when the disappointments come, they are still blessing me on my journey. If I have it in my heart to be a loving and a compassionate being, then even when things happen to me, like somebody in my family dies, or there's some egregious thing that happens, as I forgive, as I mourn, as I open up to the fact that life keeps on going, that life is good, fundamentally good, no matter what we are doing, that even those tragedies break my heart open. I know you know what I'm talking about. I'm sure that you have learned your lessons in what appeared to be the darkest hours. Those dark hours give us the spiritual muscle. You won't know peace until you have that peace in the midnight hour. You'll really know joy when you can have joy when you're not happy. It's the who we be. So our challenge is much more about our own consistency at every stage of the journey. We're so busy trying to get somewhere, or I'll be spiritual when I get over there. I'll be caring when I get over there. I'll be kind when I get over there. I'll be creative when I get over there. Like there's some mean time in between where I can just do any old thing. You know, I'll be clean and sober over there. I'll be truthful over there. No, there's no over there. There is no over there. There's only here. I want you to catch that. There's no over there. When you think you get over there, it's your here. You can only stand here. Tomorrow never comes. There's only today. You cannot live in tomorrow. Anytime you do anything, it's today. So think of the implications of that. We keep waiting for some tomorrow to be the person that we want to be, but we can only be that person in today. So if you don't appreciate today, if you're not loving today, if you're not practicing and being it today, you can't be it tomorrow. If it looks like something's going on tomorrow, it's because it is an extension of your today. You can't start something tomorrow. Get what I'm saying? It's like something can continue into tomorrow, but you can't start it tomorrow. You only have now. You only have today. So it was a real newsflash to me that my job wasn't to fix everybody. It wasn't my job to have all the answers and to right all the wrongs and to figure out who needed to pay for what. Amazing. God didn't put me in charge. And that's probably a very good thing for all of us. I'm making joke of it, but how many of us really feel this? this onerous sense that somehow or another is on my shoulders, is on my back. And whether it's personal or whether it's even large political. But it's the same thing. If you pay more attention to your becoming more of who you are than on other people not being all who you think they should be, you're going to grow a lot more spiritually. Do I need to say that again? Yeah. If you pay more attention to your being the all that you're called to be, than all the attention that you're giving to other people not being what you expect them to be, you're going to grow. I can remember my mother, actually both my parents, but particularly my mother, always telling me I was so worried about what everybody else was doing, particularly my brother. So it would go something like this. Deborah, it's your turn to do the dishes. Well, Raymond, my brother, he didn't do it. Last time, like in his turn, well, so-and-so didn't do it, and this one didn't do it, and that one didn't do it. It's somehow or another, fairness to me was about don't put a standard up higher than what anybody else has done. Okay? So, not that I should be all that I can be, I shouldn't have to be any more than what anybody else was in terms of jobs and responsibilities. You feel that? Just, why do I have to do more than that when it came to chores and that kind of thing? But there's a problem in that. And the problem is that you have a perpetual engagement with mediocrity. That's the problem in that. If you don't want to show up any more than what you think somebody else has shown up, you get to live their life. You get to live at their frequency. You get to live at their vibration. If you're not willing to forgive more than somebody else, and you've got the standoff and you're holding out, well, why do I have to say I'm sorry? They didn't say I'm sorry. I'm not the one that's at fault. Well, why do I have to do that? Why do I have to clean up the environment? I didn't clean up the environment. Why do I got to worry about racism? It wasn't my folks over here. They were like someplace else. Well, why this? Why that? Always looking for the loophole that H again, loop into your wholeness. If you want to loop somewhere, loop into that. Because as long as you're on planet Earth, as long as we're in this two-plane dimensionality thing, as long as there's still a finite us, there's always more to go. I was just joking with somebody the other day. Most of you know I've been a professional cultural diversity trainer for decades. And one of my good friends' colleagues, I remember said to me years ago, she said, Deborah, do you ever feel like you're pushing the sea back with a broom? And yeah, I would feel like that a lot. And there's another metaphor that I use now that keeps me in the game decade after decade. And that's the metaphor of literacy. I come from a long line of educators. And what I know is that if you want a nation literate, everybody has to learn to read. Your reading doesn't mean anything if that person doesn't read. Like, everybody has to learn to read. Furthermore, it's constant. It's constant. No matter how much you think you learn, there's always more to learn. Just like in the academic system, every year there's always a new set of kindergartners. There's always a new set. Some people at high school, some people are at college level, some people at postgraduate level. And it's not a value judgment thing, it's that people are at different places all of the time. And if you want a literate nation, then you just got to keep at it at all levels all the time. So imagine being a kindergarten teacher, and 15 years later you're going, oh my God, I'm still teaching ABCs. When can I stop teaching ABC? Well, as long as there's people, and you teach ABCs, well, that's what you're going to be doing. Can you feel the difference in that? Where you settle in, you settle in. This isn't about when will there be enough people in the world that I don't have to teach ABCs anymore. When are they going to get it? How can I be the best teacher in the world? How can I show up with such love and such kindness and such compassion that I just am it? That I'm it so much that people will seek me out. That even people who are too ashamed to admit that they can't read are going to come to me because I'm that safe to reveal that to. How long will I have the joy of watching people grow, of watching people learn? Just how much empowerment can I bring to the table? And I guarantee you, if I have that attitude, then I actually become excited. I become excited about having a chance to be more of what I am. Not, when is everybody gonna get over it so I don't have to be that anymore? So just imagine, whatever it is that's making you crazy right now in the outer world. Politics, economy, COVID. I mean, we got a lot of things to choose from. You know, the environment. Like, what are those things that are like making you a little nuts right now? And is there any part of you that's not showing up fully because of that? Are you using any of that as an excuse for you not to be all that you can be, for you not to show up all that you can be? I'm a veteran of a lot of movements, and I can tell you now that we didn't get progress just worrying about what everybody else was doing or worrying about what everybody else was feeling. Keep your eye on the prize. Keep your eye on the prize. Keep your eye on that soul essence within you that knows and it knows that it knows that it knows. It is free. It is unencumbered. It doesn't matter what happens to us in the outer world of circumstances. It just keeps being what it is. That's why we can have recovery. That's why we can have healing. That's why people can be survivors of whatever, of childhood abuse, of cancer, of alcoholism or whatnot, because the you isn't disturbed. Your outer stuff is, but there's still a you. See, this is the discovering of the truth of who we are. Don't just look at people's context, the political parties they belong to, their social demographic profile, you know, their age or their race or their this or their that, their professions, where they live, their age. You know, that's just a context for their life experience. Don't make that the content. You're more than all of that. And all of us are more than all of that. And we will experience wholeness as a society, as well as wholeness within our own being, when we give ourselves permission to see beyond what you see. To see beyond what you see. And that's the invitation. That's our invitation always at Inner Light. Step it up a few notches. Come up a little bit higher. Ground yourself a little bit deeper. And these things that I am saying right now are not just a luxury. That where we are in our society right now, it's not a luxury. For us to develop the capacity to remain steadfast in who we are and not sink down to lower and lower vibrations, a lot is at stake. A lot is at stake. And I promise you, if you flick the switch in your mind from how can I stop them, or how can I change them, and all of your attention focused on what you think other people are doing or not doing, and you up your game, how can I stay centered? How can I be whole? How can I make certain that I'm listening to the inner voice, that I'm heeding the calls, that I'm doing what is before me to do with such consistency that nobody and nothing can get in my way? I'll end with this. It really struck me. It was a story that Thich Nhat Hanh, the famous Buddhist monk, told. And you know, the Buddhist monks, for decades, were really, really tortured by the Chinese military. And one of his colleagues was in prison for a number of years. When he finally made it out, and he was world famous, and there was an interview that was happening with him. And they asked him, was he afraid inside? And he said, yes, I was afraid. And they said, what scared you the most? What were you the most afraid of when you were in prison all those years? And his answer, I will never forget. He said, I was afraid I was going to lose my compassion for the Chinese. That's what I was most afraid of. See, they wanted to break him from being a monk. And if he had lost his compassion for them, they would have succeeded. You feel that? They would have succeeded. And it was for the wholeness, it was far more important that he stayed true to his practice of compassion. See? That he stayed true to that. And that's where the victory was. Not all on them and what they were doing. And I'm not saying don't be an activist. Don't even go there, because you know I'm a big activist. But if your activism is just reactionary, that doesn't help. You stand in the truth of who you are and who we are. He didn't want to lose compassion for the Chinese, because then he would forget that they too were spiritual beings. And if he forgot they were spiritual beings, then he's forgetting what it means to be a monk. Are you with me? When we forget that the other people are spiritual beings, we forget that we are. That's why you can't do anything about anybody else unless you're standing tall in who and what you are. Just breathe that in. Breathe that in. We're going to pray. And I'm going to ask my band to come up. You know what I'm feeling? Welcome into this place. Let's just turn within in this moment. We find a resting place in our hearts for all of this to settle in, to gestate, to germinate, to sometimes they say let it simmer and saute a little bit in there. As we were already singing and dancing about earlier, as it says in the Psalms, create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Clean heart. So in this moment right now, we pledge. We declare, we affirm. We take off the blinders. We take off the armor. We take off the boxing gloves, the shields, the masks. Take it off. And we lay it down. We lay it at the altar of the divine so that we may be free, so that we may be of service. Something calls us, something deep within it. It sounds like a whisper. And then it gets louder, and then it gets louder, but a whisper is really enough. And we heed it in this moment. Something says, remember. Something says, come to me. Something within you says, I am more than this. I'm more than the bank account. I'm more than the relationship. I'm more than what's going on in the body temple. Let me out, let me be. So we give it full sway in this moment right now. Each and every one of us, somewhere deep within our being, we say yes. 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 Not yes to something out there, but yes to the oneness. Yes to the wholeness. Yes to the sacred interconnectedness of all life. Steps ordered by the Lord. I move from being willful to being willing. from trying to have everything my way to yielding, like ongoing traffic. We yield to you, Holy Spirit. We yield to you to go ahead, to lead the way. You are our shepherd. We want for nothing. And in the quietness of this space, we know that all needs are met. Give us this day the bread for our need, like the manna from heaven in the Exodus journey. Every day, we're living in a sea of enoughness. We feel it. We feel it deep within our beings. We are compelled, we are impelled to do things that our ego doesn't even want to do. Words like, I love you, fly out of our mouths when we want to be shut down. Words like, I'm sorry and forgive me, fly out of our mouths when we want to be self-righteous. We find ourselves giving and sharing when we otherwise want to hoard and hold on to. We find ourselves prying our little fingers off of things that are complete, especially those sloughing off the mortal coil. Godspeed. We will not hold you back. Fly, find your wings, and we'll catch up with you on the other side. Prayers that we pray for ourselves, we just pray. We pray for everybody. We pray for this spiritual community, all spiritual communities. We pray for this great nation. Peace, be still. Peace, be still. Wholeness, trust, truth, balance, integrity, love. Call it forth. Thank you. Oh God, thank you. Thank you for blessings too numerous to count. If we had 10,000 tongues, it wouldn't be enough to say thank you. It is good. We just get our narrative about all the holes, get into the wholeness of it all, and allow it to be. So it is. Can you lead us in this song? Welcome into this place.
Into this place.
Welcome into this open vessel.
Welcome into this open vessel.
You desire to
You
abide
desire to abide
in the praises of your
in
people.
the praises of your people.
So we lift our
So we
hands.
lift our hearts as we
Lift our hands.
our hands as we offer up
This praise unto your name.
your name. Welcome, welcome
To this place.
into this place.
Welcome into this open vessel.
Welcome into this open
You
vessel.
desire to abide
You desire to abide
in the praises of
in
your
the
people.
praises of your people.
Lift our hearts.
So we lift our hands and we lift our hearts as we open up
let that soak in for a moment. There's a lyric change in that song that I want to acknowledge. As a songwriter myself, I know it's always dicey when you change somebody's lyrics, but I believe that if you are in the spirit of what the intent is, I think it makes it. The song is actually open and welcome into this broken vessel. This broken vessel. And I really believe that the point of the breaking is to crack us open. Not just broken as in, you're shattered to pieces and damaged. And I'm saying that just for that to sink into our own lives, that sometimes we pay more attention to our brokenness than the openness that it is bringing. Okay? So honor those places and those spaces. For those of you who are online, I just want to remind you again that when we close out this service, there is a Zoom party that you can join. Also, if you want prayer, we are a praying community. Those of you who are here, in your good news bulletin that you got, you'll see the information there about how to reach us. You can reach us through the phone, you can reach us through email. In the back of the sanctuary, there are blue cards that are there that you can fill out, and you can put in there's an orange box that's there. You can put your offerings in that box, as well as any prayer requests. And the white cards are the good news. The white cards are let us know. let us know what happened. And for prayer, you don't have to be in dire straits. Let us also stand with you in agreement for what you know, so that we can bring that manifestation. Because when two or more standing together, something happens. Something happens there. So on your screens, you'll see the information about the prayers. I also would invite you to go to our website to check out the things that are going on and that are happening. Donna, will you be able to tell us some of the stuff that's going on? Okay, so I'm going to invite Donna Starr to tell us about some of the activities and things that are going on, and invite each of us, as she's doing that, to move into a state of openness about our resources, openness and giving. This is our offertory time. This is our time of conscious contribution. If you're online, you'll see that there are donate buttons that are there, or you can text to give as well, or go to our PayPal donate/Inner Light Ministries. All of that information is on your screen. And for those of you who are in the room, if you want to use your cell phones or whatever to do it that way, you can turn on your cell phones now and do that. We also have a credit card swiper that'll be in the back of the sanctuary. If you want to use a debit, or credit card, there are envelopes in the back of the pews for cash. If you want, no envelopes? Okay, the envelopes, sorry, they're out in the foyer, and you can drop everything in that orange box that's sitting out there. And I want to encourage you to do that. Inner Light is an independent spiritual community, and literally we are here because of the generous offerings by any of you, and that includes those of you who are online as well. And we really appreciate it. There's so much that goes on in this ministry, and I'm sure that Donna will tell you about it too, but just to remind you that we do have a food bank, and I'm sure she's going to tell you about that. We distribute thousands and thousands of pounds of food, free food every week. So please feel free to come and partake of that as well. So Donna, will you tell us some of the things that are going on?
Hello everyone, I'm Donna Starr. I am the Community Ministry Director here. And if you'll look at your good news, you can look along with me and see that we have a couple of events coming up this week. Friday night, we have our continuing every third Friday of the month community drumming with Jim Greiner, who is a world-renowned drumming instructor and leader. That is happening here in person at 6 o'clock over in the social hall. We also have next Monday, and every fourth Monday of the month is our spiritual journeys with Reverend Ann Forsberg. So you want to sign up online for that. Those are all done on Zoom. And we are finishing up a workshop with Reverend Deborah on the Getting Off the Drama Triangle this month, but I do know that that's going to be continuing. So be sure to check on our Facebook and our website for all of the upcoming workshops that are happening with that. We do have a coffee chat every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11:30. That's online, that's on Zoom. That's a way that you can stay in contact with your spiritual community throughout the week. It's a half-hour, spiritually driven and directed conversation, whatever you need to talk about. And every Thursday, starting at noon, we have our free food pantry. It's out in the parking lot, social distanced. It's really beautiful. There's music. Bring some bags, bring some egg cartons. That would be really helpful. And come and just hang out with your community. It's more like a little farmer's market than just coming and getting a sack of food. And we also have beach prayer circles that happen every first Wednesday of the month at Rio Del Mar Beach. Meet there at 6:30 p.m. And be sure to check online for any upcoming workshops and classes. And I just need to put a shout out that we really could use your volunteer support time. If you have even just a few minutes to give once a month, that would be great. I have opportunities here live on first and third Sundays, and I have opportunities for virtual support for our Sunday services as well. So I appreciate you all. Blessings.
Thank you, Donna. As we have our last musical offering, I want to invite anybody who can to stick around with us. Join us next door where there are refreshments and fellowship. We'd like to get to know all of you, and especially for those of you who are new, or if you've changed your email or your address or anything like that, there are also cards in the foyer. And I invite you to fill that out, because in this environment, things are rapidly changing, and there's new things that are coming up in the fall, and we want to make sure that we're able to stay in touch with you. We don't flood you with a lot of stuff. We don't give your information away or anything like that, but we would like to be able to stay in touch. And invite somebody into this, even if it's not in here, online, on the YouTube channel or whatever, that keep coming back. I know I never remember what I say, so I always look at it online. And I call it we used to call it the power of rewind. And no matter how much you think you get out of it here, listen again, because I guarantee you'll get something that you didn't get the first time go round. So like us on Facebook, like us on YouTube. Help us multiply the consciousness, please.
Hey everyone, this is going to be an original song by myself and John La Rochelle, and Etienne is going to sing with me. Woohoo! All right, let's keep fresh before us all of these moments of high resolve. Oh yeah, I'm seeing some bobbing heads. What about some bobbing butts? Come on. You can do it. That means dance. Yeah, there we go. There is nothing to fear, 'cause there is only one of us here.
you, Beth.
Thanks, Etienne.
Inspired by one of my favorite passages from Dr. Howard Thurman, Moments of High Resolve. So we want to just remind you a couple of things, that we're open here in the sanctuary on the first and third Sundays. So the next first Sunday is going to be August the 1st, and as I mentioned earlier, that's going to be Russell Kreitman, our pianist, last day. He's going to be leaving the Santa Cruz area and traveling around, so we're going to ask you to stay a little bit afterwards if you can.
Hurts.
Okay, because we have to celebrate him.
That's right.
He's been our main pianist for at least 5, 6, 7 years now. And
It's the official number.
and 2 weeks from now, Jamie Lula is also going to be with us. So we have big musical blowout, and after service on the 15th, 2 weeks after that, we're going to have our belated practitioner graduation. So we're finally going to get that last crop graduated. And of course, all of those who are already practitioners, wear your whites. You know the drill. Let us stand. Can we close out on this inner light?
1, 2, 3.
A little faster. This inner light. Our theme, come on now, y'all.
Of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This inner light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This
In the light of mine,
yeah,
I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
this inner light,
This in the light of mine,
yeah,
I'm gonna let it shine, yeah. This in the light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
This
In the light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
What he said,
let it shine.
yeah, this inner light of mine, yeah.
I'm gonna let it shine, yeah.
This
In the light of mine,
I'm
gonna let it shine, oh, oh yeah.
This
In the light of mine, listen. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine. No, we ain't done yet, we ain't done yet, we ain't done yet. Rep after something.
Go, ref.
Rep after something. One time. It's in the light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. Hey, this in the light of mine. Yeah, I'm gonna let it shine. Listen, this in the light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it fall.
Let us take this consciousness and multiply
Multiply
it. See you next door in the sanctuary. For those of you who are in virtual land, check out the Zoom party. See you next time.